Hi, everybody. Welcome. So hi again, and welcome to Navigating the Unknown as we explore together the questions we all have right now. I'm Andrea Stern of SternRep and AskSternRep. It feels really good to me to be doing this with an organization that I truly, truly believe in, and that is APA LA, probably APA wherever you are. I love this organization because it is for all of us and run by all of us. It is us. So become a member. Let me point my finger. We will always have a board member on these webinars, along with the guests who I can't wait to talk to. And we all know what is going, I read that wrong, as we all want to know what is going on right now. So this week, oh my gosh, I just got myself lost. Yes. This week, our board member is photo illustrator, Los Angeles photographer Hugh Kretschmer. I said that right, Hugh?
Yeah.
Kretschmer.
Yeah. Kretschmer. Like the wheat germ.
Oh, that's good. And our guests are creative director, Nathan Monteith, and executive producer, Michael Kaminski. I said everything right?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So let me turn to Hugh first. Hi, Hugh.
Hi, thank you, Andrea, for strengthening APA's message of community and support through these webinars. And I'm really grateful to be a part of honing that message by being a board member for the last 2.5 years. And I want to thank our esteemed guests, Nathan Monteith and Michael Kaminski, for coming in and sharing their perspectives during this unprecedented time. I know it's going to be riveting based on the conversations that we had yesterday. So you guys, audience, strap in. It's going to be good. Thank you.
We're getting all the secrets today. So I am thrilled to have these two guests with us, and we are so curious what is happening in ad agencies right now. Nathan Monteith is Group Creative Director at DDB Chicago, who has worked on brands like Kohler, Jeep, Viagra, State Farm Insurance, Capital One Banking, Heineken, Jiffy Lube, Big Lots, and currently U.S. Army. And helping out creatively on Miller Lite and Coors Light because he likes beer.
That's true. That was my favorite part of your bio.
It was the easiest part.
It was true. That's what we're going to do here today, is be true.
Because it was true. That's right.
Michael Kaminski has spent the last 15 years running the integrated production department for Juice Pharma worldwide. As executive producer of Juice's in-house B12 studio, Michael is responsible for the creation of all video and photography assets. He would rather be in Cuba or surfing than at this meeting, or both, even better. That's another truth.
It is the truth.
Nathan and Michael, thank you so much for supporting APA LA and all of us, like this, as we have a lot to ask you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
It's great.
So we have a lot of questions, so we're going to just dive in, and I'm asking the first one in several questions because it's a big topic, so jump on whatever you guys feel you want. I know we're all trying to figure out how to deal with what's going on right now. Can you share with us what your new normal is? And what work are you creating? How do you see the look and feel of advertising right now? Either one of you, please.
Okay. Michael, you want me to jump in since you're one of us?
Go, Nathan, go.
Okay.
Go, Nathan.
Yeah. I mean, my new normal is right now speed. We're just working so fast on everything. It's funny, you get so many emails from people saying, hey, what's your downtime? What are you doing? Here's some shows to watch. And we're like, I don't have any downtime. We've never been so busy. So the new normal for me is speed, and it's making work using existing stock and using existing imagery out there, whether it's illustration, and just finding ways to kind of put it together and make it feel different and make it feel fresh, because everybody right now is obviously jumping out there with messages about what's going on and trying to find a way to make their brand fit into that in a way that makes sense for them. And not all of them are doing it very well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Speed, as if it wasn't part of the equation beforehand, it has been. But more so on my side, My business is very unique from Nathan's. Like, you know, it's pharmaceutical, so it's heavily regulated. Things have been planned to the day because of FDA regulations and things that they have to do. So the speed that we are encountering now is to provide options. We have to provide options. We have to provide alternates, because everything in pharmaceutical involves human interactions. It involves people together on set. It involves people touching each other. I could go on and on. So the speed required for us is to present solutions to deliver the content and still meet our deadlines.
What kind of options are you talking about?
We're talking about, like, there's everything, right? There's user-generated content, which isn't really appropriate for us. We've kind of gone down that path. Somebody like Nathan, I'm sure many of those brands, and they have been successful with that.
Yep.
There's a lot of stock. There's a lot of utilizing assets that were created already. Maybe they weren't used for a campaign. There's a lot of reaching out to photographers. There's a lot of reaching out to production companies to see what they have that's available as stock, that can be licensed, that's not restricted. Animation and video editing have exploded in that sense. But still, content needs to be created for that. We need clips, we need photography. So we're really looking in everywhere we can to find solutions. The other solution that's been very prevalent and trying to figure out is the whole create at home thing, right? And that's works well. Again, I'll never speak for Nathan, but I imagine it would work much better for Heineken, where they wanted to show someone in their home, where we can't do that because the casting is not specific. But I do know that that has been providing solutions for other verticals in the industry.
How do you guys find the work from home and the stock? How do you find what you need right now? Are there any resources we need to know about?
Yeah, I mean, our art buyers at D2B, she goes through her own personal list, but it's a lot of names that you guys are all be familiar with, right? It's Getty, Shutterstock, Alamy, Media Bakery, Superstock, Gallery Stock. But also to Michael's point, it's gotten really competitive too, like to track down these images. Like in some cases, it's almost like when you're having to put a hold on certain images, get permission, and then you find out, oh no, someone else nabbed that image. So
it's like a foot race for some of the content,
Totally. And in some ways that's a big tell, right? That really challenges us, because we're sitting there going, well, wait a second, if everyone's trying to get this same damn image of a person against the glass holding hands with the other person on the other side, then you're like, what are you doing? So this whole process has kind of went through a bit of an arc where we're all moving so fast, and then now we're kind of stopping and we're kind of going, all right, what are we doing now? Because we're all starting to do the same thing. We're all starting to kind of say the same thing. And the good brands are starting to kind of go, all right, what does this have to do with what we do now? So now we're kind of, the message is changing a bit.
What is it changing toward?
It's changing to, well, how do you fit into it, right? So all the brands rushed out to say, hey, let's support the healthcare workers. Let's support the front line. And it's all like good messaging, right? It's all real. That's all stuff you should say. But no one was connecting why to what they did, right? So like, Samsung will just show, lots of people having fun and stuff, but it didn't connect to their product in any way, And at the same time, you have to be careful with that, because you also don't want to jump on this time as a way to sell. Right? So the brands have to be responsible with their message. So they're trying to find that balance between how do we fit into this conversation in a relevant way. And out of the gate, not a lot of us did it well.
I think the same thing could be said for photographers that jumped the gun in the beginning too. They came across with a bad message, and they ended up kind of hurting their brand or their honesty or their believability or the. So I would be very careful. It's not just big companies, but it's individuals as well. How do you serve yourself up during this time? One of the big things these days is everybody's got a create at home solution, right? Most people do. I've seen some beautiful packages put together. What a lot of people are lacking is any case study or any example of what they've done. Oh, that's great. So you put together a beautiful PDF to get this message across, but it kind of reminds, I think you should tell the story of a company that reversed that, Nathan. Tell if you can, the story you told us yesterday about the company that changed direction with this message because of what they were doing in the beginning.
You know what, Michael? We talked so much yesterday. Which part?
Odd lot. It was the
Oh.
it was the odd lot folks.
Big
Oh
lots.
yeah, sorry, Big Lots.
Big
Yes.
Lots. I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, no worries. Yeah, we did some work for Big Lots, and you know, they were very conscious of trying to find out how they fit into this message. They just didn't want to be generic. And what they had found was, in talking to all their managers, the managers were all kind of like doing things in and around the stores that were already taking care of the people that were coming in, like putting down tape and stuff, you know, letting elderly people in before the store opens. A lot of that stuff started by just good managers. And then the companies started to figure it out and get behind it, and then started making across the board for all companies making that type of thing mandatory, which is good. But so yeah, Big Lots had to find a way to take some responsibility and say, listen, if we're going to be open, then we have a responsibility to the people that are coming in. And that responsibility is to make sure they're safe, make sure there's some distance between everybody, put up the plexiglass.
Did they just give you footage? And I don't understand how you got that.
Yep. So we sent in one of our directors, works for the agency. We sent him in one-man camera. He went in and did video. He did stills. He then also got the employees all to kind of like take shots and photos, a little bit more user generated.
And I think that's what we're seeing a lot right now. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think the important takeaway from this is whether it's the company, you know, or it's the individual, it's about storytelling now, right? Are you telling an honest story with the content that you're putting forth? Like Nathan's right. Do I really need to see another image, another sad image of someone pressing hands to glass? Or do I want to know like I would love to see these spots just to see what these people are doing. That's what fascinates me, because it's real.
Yeah. Authenticity has become so important. And, you know, to Michael's other point about photographers reaching out to us, we were getting a lot of photographers like saying, I can do this stuff. I have no examples of it, but I can do it. And it's kind of like, well, that's hard for me to make the choice to kind of work with them because I haven't seen it, but also it's not in their best interest. You know, the thing that they do, they probably do at a very, very high level. To all of a sudden just jump in and try a different style, it's a little tougher.
So have any of those capability documents that photographers have sent you, has any of them swayed you to consider them? Have you worked with any of them? Is there anything that stood out besides that information? You know, the case studies?
Or even is it how they laid it out? Is it how they presented it that could help?
Yeah, it would have helped actually if some people were saying, listen, we can be and run a safe situation and we can do a shoot here. But then you don't see any like proof of that. No real kind of imagery of their studio, like with a bit of a plan in mind. Like, okay, here's where we're going to be doing this part. Here's where everyone's going to be. Here's when the monitors are going to be. Like include that as part of your portfolio. Say, here's how we're solving it.
It really comes down to a basic question. So it's like, oh, so you didn't figure out the hair and makeup situation. So why are you telling me that you can do this? So again, and some folks have, and to answer Hugh's question, you know, it's like anything else. If you send me a treatment that has misspellings in it, I'm not going to pass you on to the creative team. If you send me a document about your created home capabilities and I can't understand it, I'm not going to pass it off to anybody else. But think about it. It's pretty succinct, right? It's what do you have to offer? You have space, right? You either have a cool location, you have a studio in your house, you have a house that has a kitchen and places that can be shot in, right? That's great. And then you have whatever your casting is, whoever you're quarantined with.
Yeah.
But beyond that, those are really the capabilities. Pets can be helpful for folks. Everyone in Pharma needs to have a dog, so that's always a good thing, you know. But what I want to see, and the ones that I'm interested in, is where, in the cases where the photographer has taken their family and posed them in a lifestyle-y type situation. Let's just say something like that. The other thing that I agree with Nathan is like, if you're a lifestyle photographer and you start sending me tabletop stuff, that doesn't make, don't do that. Don't do that at this point. You're going to dilute your brand. You're going to dilute what you're known to be good for.
Yeah. Yeah. You're instantly competing with people that's all they do. And that is their strength. And that's hard to do. Like product stuff, when it's done well, is very, very difficult.
I don't want to forget to jump back to this, Nathan, before you were telling us that you were looking through Time magazine.
Oh yeah,
that's how you found an image.
It was getting so competitive. Like we were like literally at a certain point, I still like magazines.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, I want this image. So we would track down the photographer through time and actually lock them down. And it's hard to do because you need responses in like a day or two. So you're tracking down stuff that way. Now, you're not doing that for everything. You're doing that with a mix of the stock stuff with live action. We were doing stills from live action at one point, like just taking stops, and because you wanted a certain kind of unposed quality to it.
In Big Lots, so you were talking about the next stage. You guys are in the next stage of thinking, now what? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's next, like with Big Lots, just for example?
I think
you don't have to, maybe you can't tell us.
Well, you know that it's changing week to week. So at one point they were going to start doing a thanks message, right, for the people. But then we start seeing all these brands doing the thanks message.
Yeah.
So then you have to step back and go, okay, what's more important, getting out really fast or getting out there and doing something that's right for your brand?
So that's what you guys are that's what you're happening right now.
We're skipping the thanks messaging. Yeah, we're skipping that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going right to like pushing off of, they've got a new online, what's the word for it? A whole new redesign of their online space. So we're starting to say, obviously one of the biggest behaviors that's changing is people buying online, right? And activating, pick up curbside without having to actually go in. So the biggest thing now is pushing the online to kind of get to people and make sure the stores are stocked and make sure we have that stuff for people.
I think that's a really important question for us out here who always want to know, what are they up to? What are they doing? So your plan, like, how do you know in 6 months what you're going to be doing?
We don't.
How do you figure this out? How do we know what
does.
you're up to in the future?
I'm telling you everything that we're up to. We don't know. It's every day becomes a different challenge or a different solution.
Yeah.
One of the things that we are doing, and it's not something that I like to do, but it's been necessitated by the times, but we're going to start planning jobs out and getting bids with no shoot dates. Right? So, hey, this is the creative. And look, pharma is much more of a checklist than just doing consumer stuff, right? It's pretty prescribed for what we have to capture. So if our clients are unwilling to use video, animation, CGI, illustration, and in some cases there have to be these human interactions. So we're planning them out. We know what our specs are. One thing the agency's good at is getting ready for this kind of stuff. But I can't say to you it's going to be July 15th because I can't say that to my brand teams either.
So you're booking the photographers officially?
You've got that far?
We are having the photographers bid on the job, and we could award, right? So we're in the middle of this right now. This is why I'm talking about this. What will the award look like? I don't know right now. Will I know what the award looks like next Thursday? I hope so. Maybe.
When you say looks like, you mean the date?
Well, it's almost going to, so for instance, you do a job, I'm going to do everything's a hybrid shoot, video and photography for everything we do. You're going to want 50% down to hold your crew. You're going to want to hold your studio. You're going to want to hold hair, makeup. I could go on and on. I don't have a day for you to hold. So it's kind of like, okay, we have this big job. If it shoots live, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to give it to you. It's just everything is uncertain.
Yeah.
So are you officially booking the photographer at this point?
I don't know yet because we literally haven't. I need to get 3 treatments first and then decide literally how are we going to handle this, right? There's legal ramifications. There's, all the contingency planning and stuff that goes on for that. But that's the worst case scenario for what's happening now when none of these other alternate content solutions are appropriate.
How I see it, like, how do you bid a job right now? If it's
Because
today,
we
it's
know
one
exactly,
price. Next week, another price.
It has to be a range. It has to be a range, right? The other thing too is that whatever you give me, I'm going to double in time, and who's going to pay for all the sanitation and safety protocols?
Right.
And there's so many conversations. So the furthest we can go is to say, hey, we have this job. This is what we have to shoot. We have a budget range. How would you do it? And if it goes live, let's collaborate.
Yeah.
It literally is that uncertain.
And we're finding some clients are actually more open to single bidding than where we weren't before, right? Because we have to move so fast that we're like, let's just pick one person and work through this with them versus doing the triple bid.
The other thing that our clients are starting to push for, and I wonder if you're getting this too as well, Nathan, but I was actually on a call the other day and they were joking around and they were like, oh, you'll probably be in Texas in the middle of June. So there is a lot of talk, and again, it's just talk and conjecture about going to the places that are open and shooting. Let me just, I have a friend that did some PSAs in California, right? They were for essential businesses. They had to be done. The biggest thing that I took away from the conversation are all the little things that we're going to have to think about. The guys loading and unloading the trucks with the masks, it took them almost 3.5 times longer to do it because they can't breathe in the masks. And they have to take, so it's all those little minutia things that are going to decide how these jobs are going to go. And yes, if we decide on a creative and a budget and a shot list, and 3 weeks later it changes because only 4 people are allowed in a 12,000 square foot space, then we're again just rolling with it.
And I can see that affecting the budget, the shot count.
Oh yeah, shot counts are going down.
Yeah,
they have to.
Yeah, they have
Think
to.
about it.
There's a question that came in. They said, will they hold a photographer to the range this far in advance?
I never hold anybody to anything. That's ridiculous.
I think given this current climate, we're all having to be very flexible.
Yeah, so it's probably within the photographer's interest to include that in their, their estimates that this is, uncertain time. So
yeah, I bet there's some term that I should know that, but some term that's very official about this time. I'd like someone remind me to get on that.
I will say it's become very human though. Like, like we're all sort of, because we're having to all figure it out as we go. I've never had like such closer relationships with clients, weirdly, because we're not just we're trying to get it done, but we're trying to get it done the right way. And we're trying to figure it out. We're really having to work together. And I think that's what's led to some of the single bidding and the one-on-ones with the photographers is right. It's not just a business now. It's like we're all in this and trying to actually do it and make the thing happen because we all want to.
I would agree with that. I think it's much closer to the agency, to the clients, and more so than anything else. And it just goes to show what I've always known about the creative community. When things go south, people stick together, and there has been more of that. There's so many examples I can't even tell you of people helping folks out these days. So that's been pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And a big proof of that is that you guys are sitting here. I mean, normally I don't know that you'd have time. And we all care a lot about what's going on.
We all care.
I want to get people back to work. I want to hire people. I want to create stuff with people. That's all that I want to do. But to be quite honest with you, this is a learning experience for me as well, because I want to know what the questions are. Like what are the concerns that we can hopefully alleviate or collaborate to find a solution.
Yeah, we get a ton of value out of doing this as well, because you're right. We hear things, there's good questions that come in, and we talk about things that kind of set something off in our mind that go, oh yeah, we could do it that way. Huh. So it's good.
So you're more open, it sounds to me as a rep, you're more open to collaboration, photographers coming to you with their ideas and their thoughts. It's like, that's a different kind of shift.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that because I mean, for the past 15 years, I've been pairing people up that will accentuate to take my creative team to the next level. I think that partnership in creating and doing a project is the most important part of all of it.
Yeah.
So before they get the job, do you have you know who you want and they're collaborating to come up with concept?
Well, I mean, think about it. Everything's a triple bid. So the creative team is going to want to meet with 3 artists, and whoever seems like they can take it to the next level and collaborate. It's all about personality, right? I mean, that's the driver. but the expectation is that the artist does this every day. This is their passion. This is their greatest skill in life. You're going to come on our team and elevate. That's the word I'm looking for. Elevate the creative, and that's
And
where
that's through the creative call and the treatment. Is there more than that?
Well, if they're going to get awarded the job, that collaboration is just off and running. But yes, those are the two stages. It's the meeting and it's the treatment.
Because I'm hearing that there's more collaboration before that, like to even get to what's the shot list? What do we shoot? I'm
That all
hearing that.
depends.
Yeah.
That depends on who your personal connections are.
Mm-hmm.
Who can you call and have an off-the-cuff conversation with?
Yeah. I have a beer. Go on, Nathan.
I just said, for me, we haven't been able to quite have that same level of collaboration on stuff, because whether it was for U.S. Army, which we did 2 films, a lot of use of stock, even the recent thing we just did for Coors Light was put together with a lot of animation and illustration, as well as photography. And so we're going into like archives for historical pieces. Then we're kind of taking those photos, and with the photographer's permission, saying to them, okay, we want to crop it like this, and we're going to separate these pieces, and we're going to have some moving elements. And in a lot of cases, and this is good, they're like, okay, but please let us see it before you can actually do that. And that was the big case with the U.S. Army, is all the pieces we were doing, we added a lot of movement and subtle things to each image. So we had to go back for approval after that, just to make sure, which I think is good. It slowed us down a little bit, but it allows the photographers to still kind of have some control. Again, a little bit of a relationship, right? It's not them just going, give me the money, here's the photo, I don't care. It's, okay, let me see what you're going to do to it. Okay, that looks good. That maintains the integrity of the shot, which I know sounds like really fancy and stuff, right? But that's important. That's important
So
to them.
these were
relicensed
images?
Yes, it was a combination of a whole bunch. Yeah.
Stock and relicense.
Yeah.
How's the quality changing of images right now? And I know what I'm setting this up because I have an opinion, but
yeah,
what do you think?
I'm not a big fan of the FaceTime portraits. I was never a fan of the quality of YouTube, but look, it's the largest search engine in the world right now. I'm very concerned about that. I have to do a test. I'm doing a Zoom interview tomorrow. It's just not going to be the same. So I think that for a while it's going to be acceptable. And then I hope that people will bring the standard back up to shoot with the right tools.
Mm-hmm.
It's so case by case, because what I would say, and of course that's what you mean, but is the quality of the image needs to kind of suit the message, right? So if I need that image to feel like it was taken by a 7-year-old with their phone, then that quality can be less, right? Because it's still about the connection, right? Like the quality can be low on a photo, but if you still get that connection with the person in it, then I think that's okay, right?
The
Obviously,
authentic.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. Like when we do stuff for like hemophilia is a great example, right? That patient population is usually like young males, right? Let's say between 16 and 26 or something like that. That's appropriate. That's the right tool. You're gonna want to show up phone videos and YouTube videos. It's the appropriate thing for telling the story. I just think right now that everything, just make it a Zoom video. Okay, I'll do it, but it's not gonna look so good. I'll try to get good sound, I promise, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so much changing. I want to ask about budgets, because it's been, in the last few years, it's more content, less budget. And we, as photographers, we all have to do more, be more skilled at video and other things at the same time. What do you think about budgets, especially with the safety requirements now going to be needed to shoot? Budgets are going to have to go up.
Or you shoot less.
The biggest miscellaneous line item ever.
Yeah.
Just because it's where you're going to go into it and not realize that, oh my gosh, we needed this. We also need to run out and get this. Right. So yeah, those ones are hard to foresee. So while I'm kind of kidding about the miscellaneous, that's going to be a real thing, right?
The unknown.
Yeah.
Do you think
I mean,
cost
just
consultants will work with us on this and be a little more flexible and move with the times of this?
I think they'll have to. I think that that's where you're going to get the direction for less content.
Yeah.
The cost consultants are going to, the expectation is going to be to keep the budget and maximize what you can do within that. But think about it. Let's just think about a wardrobe fitting. So the stylist is on one side of the room.
Mm.
The talent is on the other side of the room, and there's a rack in the middle of the room. Stylist has to walk over, put the clothes on it. Talent
Yeah.
has to wait and walk over.
And the time that we're adding. Michael, you talked about that you do video, motion, and stills together.
Yes, that is.
Will we
There is.
be able to do that?
I think whatever the solutions and the safety protocols are for stills and/or for motion will pretty much be the same. I know that I can say without a doubt that there will never be a job that I'll ever do at this agency that doesn't have stills and video. It's just automatic right now. It's automatic. And it's funny too these days how stills have come back to leading the jobs and the videos become secondary lately, which is really bizarre. But,
why is that? How did that happen?
Because a lot of the video these days is non-scripted. It's MOS without dialogue, kind of like B-roll video to tell stories in the digital spaces. So.
Do you hire the photographer and they hire someone for video, or do they shoot both? Or.
Correct. So anybody that's been around me in this industry definitely knows my feelings on this. We hire the photographer for their creative vision and for their ability, in many cases, to work with the talent, whether they're actors or in our case, we have a lot of real patients and real people that we have to work for. If there's a motion component to the job, 99.9% of the time, I will ask the photographer to at least have a DP and a tech so that they can interact and direct the talent and not be worried about how a battery pack extender doesn't fit on the back of a red dragon. So it's all about the right tools for the right job. In some cases, when the budget is appropriate and the stills doesn't have to piggyback on the video and they've been done separately, for much smaller jobs, yes, maybe the photographer is on a handheld gimbal for a couple of 10-second captures or something like that. It's all about the right tool for the right job. But I don't foresee ever having any campaigns, content that won't require both.
Shot at the same time.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a question that came in. When you mentioned elevate, how do you suggest photographers make suggestions when the client is so married to their creative? Any thoughts on that?
My thought, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, you first, because Pharma is boring. Let's hear about your part of the world.
It's hard to ask for permission from a client if they don't, it's harder for them to see it. So I always encourage every photographer, to just obviously over deliver. Go shoot it, shoot a test, help them kind of see it. I think we feel sometimes that we assume too much, that they're able to kind of see what we kind of see. And it's not fair to them. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to find ways to kind of shoot a test, go that extra distance, or just bring all those options. Here's the one you asked for that you love, but look at this. And I think a lot of photographers are already good at that. But I think it's finding a way to communicate with the client like that.
Well, as a photographer, for me, doing a test, eases a lot of stress for me, and sure. I'm able to be more present knowing that I've already got this under the belt when I'm shooting. So
yeah, you can face the red face test that a lot of these created home things are not able to do. Right? You can say with confidence, "Oh, okay, I tested it. I can do it."
Yeah.
I think on the pharma side of things, it's harder because, and I would imagine it's the same for Nathan as well. But sometimes, and it doesn't happen that often. It's only happened a couple of times in my career there. They don't have the knowledge that this has been going on for a year or 9 months or 6 months before they've ever gotten there. We've had 100 meetings with the client. So the only time I've seen it work negatively is when the artist comes in and doesn't understand that it's not their job. They're not shooting for their portfolio. This is not going to be a fashion shoot. It's a lifestyle shoot to communicate a human experience. So that's the only time I've ever seen it go wrong, where they try to make it something that is completely off the brief or creative.
Mm.
If it, yeah.
Oh, there's one other question. We're talking about treatments from our audience. It says, would you expect to see COVID, in parentheses, procedures explained in the treatments nowadays? And if yes, do you think that will tip the scales with which photographer gets the award?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think if you address that, I mean, it's like anything. Whenever you find this other thing to address that makes the people kind of feel confident that you are on it, yeah, huge advantage.
Yeah, if someone were to say to me, you know, we've worked out a protocol where the photographer and the tech are the only ones in the room, and then the set builder, like that would absolutely would be good information to have, and it would make a big difference.
That's great to hear.
What kind of
The answer
stock
might be different tomorrow.
Oh,
What's that?
I was just saying the answer might be different tomorrow. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Be different this afternoon.
Yeah.
fast, speed.
Yeah.
What type of stock should photographers, do you have any ideas or suggestions what they can start doing to hopefully start working when work starts? Anything you could?
I think the biggest thing we've run into when it comes to stock is just the options of the same image. It's so important that, you know, if just that certain look, you're like, her outfit's perfect, her hair's perfect, I just wish she wasn't looking right at the camera. So if I want her like that, and it's got to be pretty creatively unsatisfying for some photographers to like think, okay, look left, look right, and just get all those and get all the different types of body language, because so often that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for obviously the casting, wardrobe, the shot, the cropping.
Yeah, but you need it to fit into your, you know.
Yes, so we'll go
layout.
right past an image if the body language is off a little bit. But if you're looking through stock and you see 10 images, like 10 shots of that same thing, you're able then to find it. So that helps a ton. Also, cropping options. You know, I would encourage them always, and again, I hesitate to say this because I know cropping is so important to a lot of photographers, but just give us a little bit wider, just a little bit wider. Sometimes we're going to need to put a little bit extra type over here. And I'd rather have that than us stretching anyone's images.
And
So
what about horizontal and vertical?
Give us both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great thought. I didn't know that.
And there has to be a horizontal and vertical plan for every new project these days. And if you're not
So in
doing
stock, you want to see that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought I meant
no, but that's a question.
Actually, you know what? No.
I can't imagine our team not, if it didn't satisfy all the different shapes and sizes, it probably would.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest one, whenever we're doing banners, and we still have to do banners on occasion, it's getting those long leaderboards. That's a hard thing to think about, but if the right photographer's thinking about it, that long skinny one and that one that goes right along up here, you can give us more stuff so that we're not having to build that and clone it. It helps.
You know, there's so many solutions that photographers want to tell you about. What are some solutions that have made sense to you and be like, oh yes, we're going to need that. That's smart. Do you have any for today, dealing with today?
I don't know if this answers it, but the biggest pushback we ever get from photographers is when someone suggests to just run some film on it. Just run a little bit of action on it. And I know it's different lighting, and it's not like we're going to use the whole thing, but just having a little bit of motion sometimes, if it's an option that they can offer up. They don't have to be directors, but if they can offer up a little bit of motion to an image, that would be
more than Cinemagraph or GIF. That
yes,
more than
yeah, because Cinemagraph and GIFs is just us doing it to it because we don't have it.
Yeah, that's exactly why we create those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
For solutions, I feel like how about technical solutions as far as remote shooting? Any solutions like any kits that you've been told about that you're like, oh, I'm impressed. Like, what can we show you right now that will help us get the job?
Mm.
It's a good question.
I, I think it's all the right tool for the right job again, right? So for instance, if you're a fashion photographer and you do high fashion and those are your clients, more than likely you can set up a shoot where you remote the hair and makeup, you remote the wardrobe, everyone does that thing beforehand. But here's a unique situation. I saw a guy do the shoot from a drone. He was half a mile away. He circled the model. He came in low. They hovered. They took headshots. They had a 6K red on it. So the solutions have to be appropriate for the situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what really stands out right now. If you have a foolproof way of 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 controlling Zoom feedback during on set. Think about how hard it is to just get one voice on set. It's been my whole career. Now I have to navigate this on video. I want to hear about people that have done that because I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to say in the beginning, only one person can speak at a time, and I'm going to mute everybody else. It's those little technicalities. How did they get the JPEGs to the creative team for selects? How long did that take? Are we uploading everything? How am I getting everything? I usually walk away from the set with the drive. So yeah, I would love the practical stuff is what I'm really interested in. How
Right
did you do that?
now or always?
Right now,
Yeah.
more so. It was this is a new parameter that affects every little it affects unloading the trucks. Think
So
about that.
you want that type of detail in the treatment. You want that minutia details.
Or at least I would appreciate just like the acknowledgement of it, right? Moving forward together as partners, we're going to have to figure out how to schedule this, how to maximize the shoot day. It's going to be unique for everything. I think I don't need to see that stuff in the treatment or any of that stuff, but it's a great conversation.
Yeah.
I hear the word nimble a lot. Do you guys have any feelings about what that really means or what you're looking for, what you wish we would do more of? What is this nimble?
Nimble
So
means low
case.
quality.
What'd you say?
What it means low quality.
Low quality.
Well, speaking of which, there's a question that came in. Are you looking for less polished images now, less fashion, more real?
Yeah, in my vertical, we are. That's all we ever look for. So,
For me, the answer to that comes down to, again, the product. If you're looking for something, it's such a hard thing to answer in a vacuum. I think coming out of this, we're going to go back and want more polished images. I think we're going to want to create much more aspirational stuff that we kind of all look at and go, that's not realistic, but man, that looks beautiful. I would love to be there. I would love to be wearing that. I would love to have that shape, that skin tone. I think that stuff's going to be very important because, we're all sort of feeling the weight of this, and user generated is great for some things, but we're going to hit a point where we're like, I want to see some beautiful art.
Yeah, I actually think when we come through this, that the quality of the creative is going to skyrocket. You have people that are self-imposing restrictions on them right now because they know they can't shoot. They know they can't afford to do a photorealistic CGI. So they're kind of, I don't want to use the word compromising because it's not compromising when they're still telling good stories and putting the message forth. But it's not what they dreamed up in their heads. It's not what they wanted. So I think that the creativity and the quality level is going to take off when it has the opportunity.
That's great to know.
I know. I love that.
Awesome.
I call that a hyper reality.
I love that. And so on that point, though, do you think, the work is going to go to the studio moving forward with all that's going on and still life? Do you think still life is going to make a comeback?
I don't know. Still life is not my bag. I don't know. I really don't know anything about that world.
Nathan, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't feel like still life has dropped off.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's too many avenues for where that can be used, right? Whether it's editorial or for print pieces. Yeah, I haven't seen a drop off in still versus, yeah.
I think it'll actually, I think it'll increase, right, Nathan, based on the
Yeah.
behavioral studies that you were doing with more people shopping online, right? They're going to want higher quality images for higher end products.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to jump on Michael's point about the explosion probably of quality after this, it's because a lot of people are practicing, right? Everyone's got a little extra time. So they're practicing and getting to learn new tools. They're doing more seminars and kind of adding to their tricks. And they're finding they're not able to do it on the projects they're doing right now, because unfortunately, there's so much emphasis right now on just getting it done on time. And right now, that's the big high five. That's the big, yes, we got it done on time. And it's not enough making it great. You know, and I think that's going to slowly become the goal. Of course, all of us as artists are always trying to make it great. But right now, the finish line has been just getting it done on time.
And we don't know when I'm asking a dumb question, I think, but when it's gonna not be just about speed.
I think it's going to turn pretty soon. Again, we've seen a lot of research that says, okay, we've all addressed this. It's time to go back. You think of all these marketers that have put tons of time into how to make their brand. They're not going to let this virus steer away what they're trying to do as a company and what their product's about. We're addressing it right now, but it's going to be back to business, I think, very soon.
Wow. I feel like that's brilliant.
Yeah.
What you just said there is like, right. And how long do you think? I mean, okay, a month? 2 weeks?
I think it'll be different for every brand. I think it'll be different for every brand. And some brands are going to come out of this way better because they got in touch with something in what they sell that they never would have been able to unlock, that they never would have thought that people wanted to see that side of them. And then people are responding to it.
Do you think they'll be okay having less shots and a little more budget?
No, of course
No.
our clients will be okay with that. That's for us to negotiate. Don't worry about it. We'll handle that part.
Okay, good. Photographers, if they don't have what you need right now, should they be sending you email promos? What marketing should we be doing right now? Any advice on that?
I wouldn't do the marketing right now that talks to me right away like you know me. It's like I get so many, hey Nathan, we know what you're going through. And it's like, they're not wrong, right? But I don't have like a relationship or a connection to you, right? So I'd actually rather you just, hey, this is what I do well. Like I want to just go back to that. Let me see the stuff you do. Empathy is the worst in email, right? Like that feeling, it's hard to get it. I'll get it through your work. If we look through your work, we'll feel it in the people that you're shooting. We'll feel it in the style of what you do.
That reminds me of when you said us about not showing too much sales right now. Like it's a salesy move to say that to you. And right now it's like, don't sell to me.
Yeah. The weird thing is I think they mean it though. Like I actually, again, going back to this human thing, we're all sort of feeling like I believe them, but I'm getting too much. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about your stuff. Tell me what you're doing and tell me pretty quick because we're getting so much of it.
But do you think the message needs to be, I'm here to support you, this is what I can do, or?
No, I don't need that message anymore.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
Everybody, I got it. Done.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
Send me solutions. That's what I need. You know, it's funny. You asked about, the way that photographers contact people and how to get to us. And look, I've been on both sides of the table, right? For better or for worse, I think that has been an advantage in my career, seeing both sides of it. So I do try to answer as many emails as I can. And it's overwhelming sometimes. I can answer sometimes 30, 40 in the morning. But I will only answer it if you've given me something to inspire me or to talk about. Even before this started, and it's going on even more now, this has always been a pet peeve of mine. You send me an email, and I'm asking, I ask for these. Anybody that's on here, I'm asking, when you have new work, send me an email. If you send me an email that tells me you have new work, and I click on the email, and I go to your site and there's no new work, you don't get the right back next time because you've wasted my time. So, and like Nathan said, hundreds, that's on a good day, right? I mean, seriously. So,
Some of them are having us. Sorry, go. I thought you were
no,
done.
go ahead.
I was going to say, some of them are starting to have a sense of humor with it as well. Like that tide is starting to turn, and thank God. Like someone the other day, and I marked her stuff down. I was like, I got to go back to this at some point. She shot a toilet paper roll wrapped in cellophane in a package like it was a piece of meat with a price tag on it and
That's
stuff.
great.
And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Right. And the other one was it was a paper towel with her hand sawing it in half. Again, and I was just kind of like, it just stood out to me because it was having a bit of fun with what's going on, but yet it was still showing what she could do because the imagery was beautiful.
Right.
I'll agree with Nathan. I love the humor and the irreverence. And I know you're sending me a promo. I know you're sending me a promo. I know you want work. Let's have some fun. You know, let's have a conversation or make it so that I want to call you back and ask you about that last project, you know?
I always call it be human, be real, be authentic. Yeah. Because that's what you guys, you are people. You're people.
Yeah, but these emails that I'm getting like, oh, you know, I really want to help you. It's like, I don't even know you. Don't pretend that you know me. We've never even worked together. We never even met, you know? How about writing, hey, I'd like to introduce myself.
Yeah. Yes.
What if someone doesn't have anything to do with today's situation? Should they be emailing you promos or should they wait for that?
I love to look at new work.
Yes.
So,
yep.
Okay.
I would say definitely.
I got the time right now.
Okay.
In between video calls. I don't know how that's possible, but
I would say the best way to break through is to not talk about it at all. Don't send me any work that has anything to do with it. Because I think we've all sort of felt it. It passes the eye test. If you're watching TV, you see 4 commercials that are all sad, all showing the same thing, and then all of a sudden, a Swiffer commercial. They're dancing and they're cleaning, and normally you hate that, but right now you're like, what a break. I'm enjoying this, right?
Okay,
I know
so
it sounds,
no, so you want a break. You want a break from all
we want a
this.
break. We want a break.
Sure.
That's great to know.
Yeah.
What's the best way for people to contact you or reach you or send you any suggestions on what works? I use LinkedIn. Does that help?
LinkedIn's okay. I've had people just follow me on Instagram and like build a relationship through that, you know, and they don't come in hot and they don't come in like just being too silly. They just kind of start following you, and occasionally they like a photo you have, and it's a very real experience, a real way to kind of connect. So yeah, I've got a lot of photographers I follow.
I love the Instagram banter. I end up becoming pen pals, I guess, with creatives that I'll never meet or never know, but there's a common interest, and who knows, you know, something might pop up and I'll go, hey, that's exactly what they do. I could tell you how not to contact us.
Yes, please.
Don't call us, because you will never get a call back. It's not appropriate now. We have so many different, I got Slack, email, my texts, I got, who else knows? I got Jira, I got Proof.
Yeah, I feel it is so rude to call me. Like, it's at the time you want to talk, I need to talk when you need. So I agree, don't call me. And that leads my next question. What if someone doesn't have a rep or they're not part of a production company? How do they stay a little more active right now? Because they might not know how to get in touch or not know what's going on. People who aren't repped, any advice?
That's a tough one, because if you're taking this job as seriously as you should in order to be able to compete, you've got to do that. You have to reach out and have someone doing that work for you. Obviously, talent finds a way, right? Talent does find a way, but help yourself out, and you should try to get one. And again, if you can't, your work will stand out if you just try to, that's where I would go the Instagram path and approach me now then as a person, you know.
Yeah. It all comes back to that. We're people. We're kind of
Yeah.
running out of time, but I want to make sure I got all my questions.
Some of us have cats.
I have 4 cats. I'm crazy. You have cats? See, we're so human.
Not only collecting baseballs, you're collecting cats.
Yes. Any other questions out there? People keep the questions coming in, even if we don't get to it. But yeah, Hugh, anything?
Nothing yet, but yeah, keep them coming.
2021. How are budgets gonna? Because right now clients are not spending a lot of their money, right? Any predictions on? Oh
Yeah,
no, they're still spending their money.
I would say there's 2 camps of folks now. There's the cautious camp, right, where they've said, you know what, we're not making a big market splash. We're not launching anything. Let's just update the copy and we'll save our money to 2021. And then there's the other folks that come hell or high water, no matter what they got to spend to get stuff out right now, it is going to happen. And I find that to be much more than the folks holding on to their money right now.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
What do you find in your world, Nathan?
Well, it's kind of the same. I mean, a lot of these people, the way their budgets work are, if they don't use it this year, they lose it next year, right? So that's just a lot of people's reality. So we're finding people are spending the same amount, but just doing it in different places, whether it's online. But some of them are holding. But again, I think by the next few months, they're going to go out, but they're going to go out with their marketing message that has nothing to do with what's going on. Because again, they're going to return to what their marketing plan is, because they're seeing the response from people that people want that.
And if it's successful,
yeah,
I was going to say, and if that part, if they can catch that lightning in a bottle, then what I would predict in my crystal ball that, look, November and December are the busiest months ever because of exactly what Nathan said. All of our clients have to burn their budgets so they don't get them back next year. So now, not only are they going to have to burn their budgets, but they haven't been able to do anything for 6 to 8 months. So I think if things come back on schedule, that those months are just going to be, it's going to be a
crazy,
like a volcano.
Oh, love it.
I hope.
I'm starting to get that now. I'm starting to get phone calls and doing bids for the future. Not sure when, but it's starting to happen. So that reassures me that it's coming back. There's going to be a lot of shoots happening. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. It's crazy. Like we can bid and do the treatments and kind of agree that you're going to do the job. We just don't know when.
Yeah.
Or how.
I do have 2 quick last questions. Zoom meetings. Photographers are being, I'm sorry about that. Photographers are being, we're hearing that people are taking Zoom meetings like as portfolio showings. Do you want that right now?
I've done it already. I've actually done it quite a bit since we've been in for the last 8 weeks. I will tell you what the biggest difference is. So ordinarily there's 2 ways, right? I'm either going to go to a speed dating situation, right? Where photographers and artists are going to come in and see me for 15 to 20 minutes. In that case, I never knew who they were, right? I didn't know who was coming to me. The difference that it's made in doing the Zoom portfolio reviews is that I'm already familiar with the work. And I'm doing this just to be informed and to get ahead. I also don't want to suffer through somebody showing me their video, holding their book up to the screen. Yeah. So that's the difference, is that the portfolio reviews have become much more, not that they weren't anyway, much more of a chemistry thing, even more so now. It's personality and chemistry. But then going back to what you had said earlier too about the having a rep or not, you know, the other way that we see people is in person. You know, you've been into the agency, try to get them to meet with some creative directors. But one of the advantages that reps do is when they do group shows and they'll bring their stable of artists to the agency, and then people can come in at their own time and review the work over a couple of hour period. That's a very effective one that who the hell knows how we're going to replicate that now.
That's what I was just going to ask you. How are we going to replicate that? Can we do that on Zoom meetings?
No, it's going to be, it's not. It's going to have to be that whole science of of flow, right? How many people can be in a room at the same time? How far apart do they have to stand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of how many
I-
people do you get, right? When they're just walking down the hall and they see it, and then they're like, I got 5 minutes, I can do this. I'm going in. And now you do 20 minutes and you walk around.
Yeah.
My
The thing-
opinion, yeah.
No, I was
Yeah,
going to say
Michael?
the thing that I like about the Zoom calls is that it really, this is what I tell all the SALT kids and all the SVA kids. I'm like, you should go to meetings just to make a new friend, just to make a new acquaintance, just to get to know somebody. Because if you go in to try to just get the job, you're not going to get the job. You're going to be really transparent. They're not going to want to work with you. They're going to think you're selfish and I could go on and on. These Zoom opportunities, these Zoom calls are a real opportunity to find out what the person is like, to be honest with you. I'm already taking the call because I like the work and I'm interested.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
genius. I feel like that's a golden nugget.
Good.
For me personally, I think it is a good idea if you already know the people and you want to update them. Like for me to have some Zoom showings, I think that's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
it's all
one
about
more,
it's about keeping in touch right now. And any way you can keep in touch is, like
yes,
Nathan said in the beginning, we'll probably learn more than the whole group out there because it's going to be practical for us to take back.
yeah. Do you think payment terms are changing, like demand larger advances because people are concerned about bankruptcy right now? How do we protect ourselves?
I only pay 50% up front, so.
And I never handle this stuff, so I'm going to defer to Michael on this.
I know.
I pay 50, I pay
Okay.
50, 25, 25. That's not going to change. I'm not going to get the agency to change their payments.
I know. I know. And I wish I had good advice as the rep, but I'm not sure yet.
And think about it. Think about how many other people do you get the 25 in the middle of the post from as well? Not many.
Rare.
So I insist on that. You have to pay your teams. You have to pay your crews. You get to keep the lights on. So.
Well, that's good. I have one last more personal question just to finish us up here. Has there been something personal that you will take away from this time that has enriched your life? Who's first? Do you want me to go first? I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
I'm a very routine person and I'm very active and I'm like, oh, I'm scheduled. You know, I have yoga from this time. I'm doing phone calls at this time. I'm sending promos at this time. And I've always thought, man, what would I be like if I slowed down? Man, I could be really a lot better at what I do. I think if I slow down, and for the first time, I'm getting to experience myself a little more slowed down, dialed down, and I'm liking it a lot.
For me, it's been family, just this connection to family and appreciation and gratitude for what I've got, because there's a lot of people suffering out there right now.
Yep.
And, for the first time, I've got a 27-year-old daughter that lives in Australia, and my daughter and my sister who lives in New York has never met her, and they got a chance to meet over Zoom last week.
Aw.
And it was quite an emotional
Wow.
reunion, for the first time. So that was pretty special.
That's awesome. Yeah, these are sometimes we might never forget. So what about you guys?
Well, I echo what Hugh was saying, so I'm not going to re-say that because we definitely this connection with family and people that you normally don't reach out to, you do now, which is great. You're like, why didn't I do this before? So beyond that, I think it's my ability to start to have fun with the job still. So the first few weeks, I was kind of like, I described it as it's all of the work of work and none of the fun of work, what we were going through, because it just felt like everything was a meeting, and we weren't able to do this in a way where we kind of enjoyed it. And over the last few weeks, we've started to find ways to enjoy this. It's become a little bit more of our more routine in a way, but we're starting to have more fun. So we're starting to like do these things now in a social way with people I work with. Like I had a meeting the other day with 5 creatives, and they were just sitting there wondering what we were going to talk about. And I was like, how's everything going? And they were all freaked out because it was just more of a, how you guys doing? This is what we would do at the office. I would walk by and go, how you guys doing?
Right.
And then we would just shoot the shit. So it was weird for them to have a scheduled time to shoot the shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
Which is, again, it's the being human. It's the time
Yes.
to be human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Michael?
I haven't accomplished any of these personal goals. Like, I'd love to be able to slow down. I wish I was telling you that I was out in the morning surfing every day, but I think the positive things that have come from this is that it's reiterated. I realize how extremely lucky I am to have a job right now. And
Very true.
even with, 3/4 of my family being unemployed, like, I feel really good to be able to do that. I also am at a point in my life where I was able to help out some people in Cuba that couldn't buy food. So for me, I haven't accomplished anything for myself whatsoever. But I would say that for me, the thing that strikes me the most, and everything for me is centered around this community, but I have just been blown away by the generosity of some of the artists, like the folks that are doing the art for assistance that were started by Tim Tatter. You had the sale of the Elmhurst prints, and you could go on and on with people supporting each other. And that for me has, you know what, I think a lot of that kind of slipped away a little bit before everything got so competitive. And I think that this has humanized everybody a little. It's balanced the scales a little. So I love seeing people help out other folks that just can't do it for themselves.
That was good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm glad I
really
asked
good.
that question. Thank you, guys.
And Michael, those things that you're doing for Cuba and whatnot, I mean, those are personal, accomplishments. Those are things for
Yes.
yourself. It's self-care.
Yeah, but I'm talking about being able to relax for
Oh,
half an
that
Well, that
hour
was
that I've never
mine.
been
That was
able to
mine.
do. I'm talking about, instead of fucking around in the morning, getting on the damn surfboard and getting out there. But no, I appreciate that, believe me.
Well, I think it's going to enrich your life in a way that you'll know later. You'll look back and go, I felt good.
Yeah.
No, it is true. Any more questions from the
I know we
ether?
want to
I wish
keep
we could
going,
see
but
everybody.
We're at,
we're way over time.
I got a message a while back. We're almost an hour, and that
Yeah,
was
it's over an
15
hour.
minutes ago.
We gotta go. This is good
All right.
stuff, but we
Yeah.
gotta go.
All right.
So we're out of time. Thank you, APA, for making this happen again. We will be back in 2 weeks to get lots of new information for all of us. And Michael and Nathan, thank you for sharing your time, your instincts, your insight, and who you are, mostly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope
Oh,
that
you're
was
welcome.
helpful for some people. So
Hey, you know what the
I
best
think-
thing
I
about
think
this
so.
was? The best thing about this was I got to meet Nathan. So there you go.
Oh man,
there we go.
See, there you go. Mission
Big hug.
accomplished.
Hug.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't
Big
get that
hugs.
close.
Big
Oh,
hugs.
this is my kind of webinar. This is good. So we appreciate this, and we needed this. And everyone, wear your masks.
Yeah, and thank you. And personally, I want to thank you guys and our awesome audience. And special thanks to Sammy's Camera for their support for APA. And the APA is your resource hub. I'm supposed to say that. All right.
Become
So,
a member of
thanks, everybody.
APA.
Yeah.
Member. Be a
Great.
member. Okay.
Peace out.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Be safe.